Hi, I'm Sandra Michaan. Here I am at the entrance of the O Club, which is the home of the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair, held on October 21st and 22nd. We'll have 50 booths and 3 ballrooms of men's and women's vintage fashion, couture, textiles, jewelry, and much more. We went to the Alameda Point Antiques Faire, which is held the first Sunday of every month, and we looked for some of our dealers who will be selling at the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair. And we asked some of those dealers what they'll be bringing to the Fall Vintage Fashion Fair. And this is what they had to say. I'm here with Stephanie Harvey, one of our popular dealers at the Vintage Fashion Fair, and we're going to talk with Stephanie about some of the collecting trends in vintage fashion right now.
Okay.
So,
what I see coming up this fall is a lot of fur, faux fur and real, some snazzy looking cocktail dresses, either sophisticated or fluffy, all sorts of things this fall, but I think fancy is good.
did you see a big trend in shows like Mad Men? Did that affect a lot of the vintage clothing collecting?
Yes, but I think it's too bad that Mad Men didn't come back this year.
True. Well, we have something to look forward to for the spring show for the Vintage Fashion Fair. At least all the new items will be hot.
Right. Yes. But I think Mad Men is still very strong.
I agree. So we've got some beautiful dresses right here. Could you tell us about those?
Okay, we have a navy blue gabardine, probably from the late 40s, with slight shoulder pads and a long length. We have another 40s dress here, more of a daytime dress, again with shoulder pads, a belt, and a very long length.
Now, shoulder pads are very big, again, in fashion in the runways for the fall. I noticed it in many collections, Miu Miu and Marc Jacobs, Louis Vuitton. So this actually 40s are a hot trend in vintage.
Yes, I saw a lot of, for the new stuff this fall, a lot of 40s inspired.
This is true, definitely.
Then we have more of actually a Mad Men type, almost a secretary outfit with a little jacket.
Very cute.
And then we have another 40s.
Now look at the button detailing on this.
Yes, I replaced all the buttons.
Now see, this is exactly why you can go to a dealer like this who's a pro, who fixes all and mends and takes really good care of all of the vintage finds that they find and puts them back in proper order, right?
That's in wearable condition, yes.
Now that's what you have to look forward to, people. She's going to bring many of these beautiful dresses to the October show on October 21st and 22nd. That's what we're looking forward to.
Including a 4-piece matching faux leopard corduroy outfit from the 50s, a coat, a hat, a tote, and a matching umbrella.
Wow, that sounds exciting. Oh, that's going to be show-stopping.
It is. In fact, I really want to keep it, but I'm not going to.
Well, lucky us. I can't wait to see that. Thank you, Stephanie, for talking to us about that.
All right, thank you, Sandra.
So we have to see that in Stephanie's booth at the October Vintage Fashion Fair. Hi, I'm here with Roberto Isola from City Vintage, and I would like to ask him a few questions about collecting and collecting trends. Now, Roberto is one of our dealers for the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair, and I wanted to ask him some questions about what he's going to be bringing to the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair.
Well, I'll be bringing men's fashions as well as women's fashions from the 1890s to about 1960 approximately. Dressy stuff, mostly suits, shoes, hats, ties, scarves, and accessory items.
Great. Now, what have you noticed in trends in vintage fashion lately, and some of the things that people really are looking for in vintage collecting right now?
I would say that the latest craze might be the Mad Men clothing, the sharkskin suits, New York, Madison Square Garden and that area there. Just another recreation of that whole era is what's the latest trend, and it's really a neat time in American history.
Yes, and skinny ties.
Skinny ties, skinny lapels, the small little pocket squares over the pocket area here, and pointy shoes.
Pointy shoes, yes.
Pointy shoes, and just a little less decorative than what used to be in the past. But then again, very nice.
And you specialize in men's suits, and that's one of your, most specialty items that you offer, right?
Yes, my favorite era is, of course, the 1930s and 40s. Is the real glamour era where Cary Grant and Fred Astaire used to be so elegantly dressed, and we tend to think that everybody dressed that way. We just hope that they did. But absolutely beautiful stuff and very high quality. Every piece is a treasure and unique to every purchaser.
That's so exciting. Could you show us a couple of those pieces in that you have here?
Well, I have this is a 1940s double-breasted suit. I don't know if you can see it on there, but it has a beautiful window pane in it, and the color is really lavender. If you can see the hue of lavender.
Oh, yes.
With the gray buttons, just beautiful hand buttonholes right here that you don't see too often. The slip pockets, the pants themselves have double pleats.
Look at that lining.
The lining this is old manufacturer here. This is one of the better ones. And usually the good thing about the old vintage clothing, it actually has a union tag.
Oh, that's
Made
great.
in America.
Wow.
We hardly see that anymore. But 100% wool. The double-breasted suit was one of the favorites in the late 30s as well as in the late 40s. Not to say the single-breasted wasn't as good, but double-breasted kind of dominated it at the time.
It's a very elegant look.
It definitely is. They should don't make them like this no more.
No, that's very flattering, yes. And these, Roberto, these suits are very reasonable. I mean, if you go to any department store today, you would pay a certain amount, but this is it true that this is very reasonable to buy a suit from you?
Yes, if you could really compare the craftsmanship behind the garments of yesteryear to today, there's quite a bit of difference. If you had to get a suit like this custom made, you would be definitely in the $2,000, $3,000 range, just because there's so much detail and so much construction that was done before when labor was a lot cheaper.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's much more economical to buy a suit from a vintage expert and professional.
And the real good thing about when you buy a vintage piece, it's like an investment. It retains value. You can compare it to a classic car. It doesn't really go down. If you maintain it and take care of it, you will definitely be able to sell it later when you're done using it, or you can keep it. It's hard to sell good stuff once you have it in your possession.
That's right. And you'll get a lot of years of wear for this.
Absolutely. And I also recommend not to dry clean clothes as much as people tend to do modern clothing. These old garments don't really need that much cleaning. You wear it, a dozen times and then send it to your, dry cleaner for a nice dry cleaning, and you can wear it another 12 or 10 times for sure.
That's great advice. Yeah. So thank you so much. And we're really looking forward to seeing all of the wonderful items that you'll be bringing to the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair.
I'm prepare frantically to get all that together and be at the show. Look forward to it.
Great. Thank you. We're really looking forward to seeing you.
All right. Thank you.
This would be a perfect dress for the Art Deco ball. If you look up the Art Deco Society in San Francisco, hello, and this would be the perfect outfit for it. Or the Gatsby picnic that's coming up this Sunday at the Dunsmuir. Yeah. It's always the second Sunday of the month. And
you said you had a shop also?
I have a store called Vintage a la Mode. It's on Sacramento Street in San Francisco, Sacramento and Presidio. And we have all glamour, glam, glam, glam.
And you know about the Vintage Fashion Fair that's coming up on October 21st and 22nd?
I believe I do.
Oh, great. So you could dress up because we have a Halloween costume contest on the preview party. So this could be a fabulous item to wear. Beautiful.
Red lips.
Ooh,
Red fingernails.
Red fingernails.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to go over and talk to one of our customers who collects vintage clothing, and I want to ask him some questions on what makes him so passionate about vintage clothing collecting. Let's go talk to him.
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
Chico.
Chico. Will you tell me why you love to collect vintage clothing so much?
Okay, to begin with, it's the mystery of the one who wore it, what occasion, and besides, I've been wearing this all my life.
When did
It's
you
my
start?
passion.
It's your passion. When did you start collecting vintage?
Maybe 12 years old.
That long ago. So what in this booth is so intriguing to you? What is your favorite type of clothing to collect?
Military,
Military clothing. How interesting.
because I'm one of them reenactors.
You're one of the...
Reenactors. Second World War. But I love the gabardine though.
The gabardine,
They're
yes.
the best.
That is true. Now, this is, we're going to interview the dealer who sells these wonderful suits. But what is your favorite type of, show us one of these ones that you really like. Ah, this one right here.
The gangster look.
The gangster look. Gangster movies. Do you like, are you a fan of gangster films?
I do.
That's great.
Definitely.
Well, I'd love to see you in one of these. And will you be shopping at the Alameda Point Vintage Fashion Fair October 21st and 22nd?
Of course.
Oh, great. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. And I hope you dress up because we are going to be having a costume contest on the Friday night preview. So I'd love to see you dress up
Awesome.
in a gangster. Okay, we have prizes. Okay.
Okay, about the prize. I want to be there.
Oh, great. Thank you.
That's my life.
Oh, you're perfect for it. Thank you for interviewing with us.
Most welcome.